This episode of Wizards of Waverly Pod is brought to you by BetterHelp. I love the holiday season, and one of my favorite things about it is spending time with family. But what I don't love so much is sometimes how being around family can bring back not the most positive family dynamics. I don't know about you, but the moment I get in my childhood room, boom, those childhood super reactive patterns come creeping back in. Therapy helps me stay on track with who I am now and not who I was then, so I can really just enjoy time with my family for exactly who they are. In the season of giving, give yourself what you need with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Waverly today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Waverly.
Jen Stone, everybody.
David Deluise,
welcome,
everyone.
Wizards of Waverly Pod.
This? I don't know.
Supernatural. This?
I like this elbow.
This is I'm having fun.
This is like the wave, but like elbows as well.
Yulia got me this shirt.
It's a very nice.
It's an off pink.
This whole,
right? Isn't that
it's
what
like
it
a
is?
mauve. A moving mauve. Yulia's nailing it on the shirt front.
Yeah,
lately.
she's doing a very
She really,
good job.
you've got a good one there. I think I might like Yulia better than you now. I still love you both, but if I had to choose, like if it was a burning building, I think Yulia, I'd be like, grab Tony, let's go. Like if I had to pick. I don't know why I have to pick, but
So for
it's a fucked
people
up way
who
to start the
can't-
episode.
Yeah, what the fuck? I would pick your cats, Jen. I would save your cats in a burning building.
One of them pisses all over everything, so joke's
Not
on
that
you. Well, I'm not going to tell you which one. It's a 50-50 chance.
What is that on your shirt?
It's
What is
Boston.
Boston.
Boston, baby.
Tour 1979.
Yeah. My dad raised me on what's now called classic rock, but basically all his favorite bands are cities. So he loves Chicago, Boston.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, he loves, if it's named after a city, it's his favorite band. And then like the Commodores.
What do you mean now called classic rock? So back then it wasn't
wasn't
classic rock.
classic,
Is that
it was
what you
just
mean?
rock, yeah.
Right, okay.
But anyway, okay, guys. So today we're talking about the Supernatural.
Supernatural.
Nice. Season, and not the TV show with the two guys and the fan base.
Where they're
and all
very attractive.
Where
those
they're
super-
very-
There's actually a
yeah, they're
spinoff.
okay.
There's a spinoff
There's
of
many
Supernatural
spinoffs.
now. Oh, I didn't
Right?
know. But there's another show that they asked Yulia to do because Yulia writes scripts.
This is David's wife.
And yes, and takes like an English script and then translates it into German.
So German.
Yeah, but which is
I don't know why
tough.
I made that, like,
because
Dutch.
German. But what is tough because there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense in translating. So
Like
she
what?
has to come up. Peter Piper picked a bunch of peppers. Like, how do you translate that? You know, you have to
That's true.
turn it into something in German that
So
like
what'd she turn that
rhymes or
into?
something.
Do you
I
remember?
don't know. We have to ask her.
Okay.
But they had asked her to do that spin-off show, and she wasn't able to. But it looked good. It looked really good.
What I know about that show, which I know the Supernatural fans are going to be like, that's it, is that Jeffrey Dean Morgan plays the dad, and he's a sexy, saucy man.
Okay, so Jeffrey Dean Morgan was on the zombie show.
Yes. Negan, Walking Dead.
Walking Dead, right, exactly, which I didn't really watch, but I loved 28 Days Later, which is kind of based on, whatever. So I did a
Not
movie with Jeffrey
remotely,
Dean.
but okay, they both had zombies. It was about it.
No, isn't the beginning of Walking Dead very similar to the beginning of 28 Days Later?
The beginning of every zombie thing is pretty similar to each other.
right,
Where
listen.
it's you wake up and go, oh, there was a zombie apocalypse. They're
For
all pretty
all
much
the fans
same.
that are listening and or watching this show, you tell me if Jen is right that it's not very similar or if it is similar.
We're talking about like Danny Boyle, Greg Nicotero, like two very different. I mean, they're zombies. The genre is the genre.
I know, but they
They're
both
all
wake
like
up like in
stemmed
a
from-
hospital
Well, yeah,
and they're
because it
walking
stems
around
from,
like what's
Night
happening.
of the Living Dead. Like
Listen,
they
Jen,
all
I want to
kinda
get
come
along
from
with
that.
you. We've got many shows to go. So I'm
you tell
at a
him-
thing,
Yeah, okay.
an event, and I see Jeffrey Dean Morgan,
Mm-hmm.
and I go up to him and I'm like, I love you. You're so great.
Yeah.
You know, because just all his work. And he's like, David, how are you? It's good to see you. We work together on that. And I was like, oh, man.
Shit.
But yeah, he's talented and handsome.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, The Supernatural
yes, Supernatural.
is the episode title, not
and
the show.
this was the one and only location shoot.
We never did it again.
We went out to
Yeah.
in the world with the whole peoples and,
with the
and
peoples
the cameras
and
and everything.
the stuff.
It was weird because we were just like set up like multi-camera, you know, like but out in the world. I thought when we were doing the location shoot, it would have turned into a little more kind of single camera kind of feel.
We'll get back to why this was the only location shoot we ever did and never did it again. But this was season 1, episode 15, originally aired on May 18th, 2008. Little brief synopsis. Justin uses his magic to land a spot on the school's baseball team so he can impress a girl named Kari.
And Kari was played by
Chelsea Kane.
who I played her dad on Baby Daddy.
Oh, did you really?
Ben and Vinny, who were writers on our show, worked on that.
Yeah.
And this is always so fucking funny to me. I got a call from them. And they're like, we need you to come in and fill in. There's an actor that fell out. And I was like, why the fuck didn't I get an audition
Originally,
for this?
yeah.
So there was a thing. I don't know if you know the show Baby Daddy.
I do.
Well, she had a biological father, and she wasn't sure who it was. So there was me and another actor who were like, we think we're the dad. We're not sure. And then the audience voted. They did a vote thing as to who should be the dad.
Did you
Because we
win?
shot alternate endings. Of course I won, Jen. What are
I
you
was
about?
about
Of
to say, I
course.
was like, this is going to get really
But it
awkward
was
if
so
you didn't
nice
win.
to see her again. And
Yeah,
in
she's
this episode,
the
I'm
sweetest.
going to let you keep reading, but she had to play not very bright. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
which it takes a smart person to play not very bright.
Yeah.
She nailed it.
Yeah, well, she's very talented, super sweet. Continue.
Yes, so it's played by Chelsea Kane, whose name was Chelsea Staub at the time. So she changed her stage name.
Why?
I don't know.
Did she get married to
No,
a person? with
she changed it. And it still throws me every time because I always want to call her Chelsea Staub, but it's Chelsea Kane now. So.
Okay.
Anyway, so meanwhile, Alex tries to impress Riley by making him think she's the team's good luck charm.
Who's back? Riley with his chiseled jaw.
Yeah,
and
those gorgeous brunette curly
I had
hair.
a crush on him.
I had a crush
just
on
like
Riley
you,
too.
Jen.
I had a crush on Riley too, even though he was a lot like. How old was he in real life?
He was older.
Yeah,
We've
he was
talked
like,
about this.
like
Yeah.
mid to late 20s.
Yeah, and but he was so
looks pretty
sweet
young.
and nice.
Yeah.
There's a line in here
He was
when
like
we get
very
to
golden
it.
retriever energy.
I'm sorry, I apologize, but he goes, oh, no, I'll just hold on to it. I'll tell you that in a second.
Keep it.
I'm writing it down.
Save it for
Okay,
the day.
go on.
Save it for the day. Okay, so Justin uses magic to land a spot on the school's baseball team so he can press the girl Kari Lansdorf, who only dates baseball players. I'm like, what happened to this girl that she only dates baseball
Yeah,
players?
it's a little weird.
It's very weird. And she's like,
Yeah.
I like things with mitts and balls and things and like,
I only like movies with cats.
well, that's like the thing at the end.
Yeah, no, I know, but
I'm
it's-
just like, who is this person? Like, who is this person? She's like, I like baseball and I like cats.
It's weird.
It's specific. I mean,
It
God
is
bless
weird.
her. She embraced it.
Yeah.
But because I would have been like, what? Who is this person? But people would probably recognize Chelsea from the Bratz movie. She was Stella from Jonas, that short-lived. They were
the
kind of like
Jonas
the Monkees,
Brothers.
but the Jonas Brothers Disney
Right.
Channel song, and Riley from Baby Daddy, which you
Right.
mentioned. But she was also in the unaired Wizards pilot.
What the fuck?
Yeah, she was.
Really?
There is a picture I have of me, her, Selena, David, Dallas Lovato, who was also in the Wizards pilot, which is Demi's older sister. I think they both played love interests of David again. And then there was like this big epic house party that David had that got him into trouble later.
Interesting.
After the pilot that she was also at.
The
yeah.
Amazing O'Malley's. Wait a minute. The David Henry party that she was at was off. Not in the show.
No, that was not in the show.
in
That
real
was
life.
after we finished the pilot that later like got David into a little bit of
And
hot
when
water.
Jen says, it means almost fired.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the truth?
It's the truth. Yeah. There were some things that happened at that party that apparently were not so kosher.
right.
Yeah. I was there and I'm not going to speak to what those things were.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Amazing O'Malley's was the original Wizards pilot, which I was not in, but I was sent a DVD of.
That
which
you
I've
cannot
been-
find.
No. But listen, we're back up at the cabin house,
Yeah.
and I have spent a good 6 hours going
Aw,
through
he's
boxes.
trying to find it for
going
you
through-
guys.
But what happens is when you're going through shit like that, and you're like, "Oh, look at this! I haven't seen this for 20 years," and you check it out, and then you're like, you know, it's like something shiny. You get a
What
little
other stuff
distracted.
have you found looking for this pilot?
Well, like I hosted later, and Sean Hayes did a part on there, and I watched that, and there's a bunch of stuff and things from like my kids, their recitals.
So you're
and
finding everything but the Wizards pilot.
Yeah. Listen, there's
It'll show up.
I knew
It's like
when
everything. It'll show up when you stop looking for it.
Yeah, okay.
Like everything.
Okay, so officially, I'm not going to look for it anymore, everybody.
Everyone's like, no,
oh, wait,
you have to look for it.
That's Yulia. She just found it. Okay.
Okay, so again, this episode, blaringly season 1 Harper style, just hurts. It hurts a little bit. Like it just really hurts because it's so. So this one, she walks up
where
to.
she's
it's just
obsessed with
unspecific.
Justin again.
No, it's not that part. It's just her style in season 1 is so unrealized compared to what she gets to. It bothers me. I don't know if it bothers anybody else because it's very personal.
Style of her personality? Style
No,
of
not
her clothes?
Her clothes. Because her clothes is such like a part of who her character is. And in the season 1, it's just so schizophrenic. It's so all over the place.
Right.
She walks into the sub shop. She's wearing this like red polka dot headband, like this mod, like navy red, white, patriotic 60s dress. It's weird. There's no focus. There's no vision.
So much judgment of yourself here.
No, it's not that.
Of Harper.
It's just the fact that it's like you can really see that we haven't found her yet.
Right.
And I'm so excited for where she gets to. So I don't know if does that bug anybody else? It bugs me. And I think obviously I'm closer to it than most. Yeah,
it didn't bug me.
It was unfocused.
Yeah,
so it drives me a little crazy.
I wasn't bugged by it.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I'm the only neurotic person about it. And then later she's in like a plain like jeans and a green hoodie, which I'm like, who the fuck is this? Like that's so I've never seen Harper later on in like hoodie and jeans.
Future
like, that's so not who
rewatches.
she is.
I'm gonna in the future. I'm gonna pay more attention to your clothes.
You don't
because I didn't.
And I'll
remember.
just obsess over it.
Yeah.
It'll be my weird like Larry David thing that I'll do.
Okay.
This episode of Wizards of Waverly Pod is brought to you by BetterHelp. I love the holiday season, and one of my favorite things about it is spending time with family. But what I don't love so much is sometimes how being around family can bring back not the most positive family dynamics. I don't know about you, but the moment I get in my childhood room, boom, those childhood super reactive patterns come creeping back in. Therapy helps me stay on track with who I am now and not who I was then, so I can really just enjoy time with my family for exactly who they are. This holiday season, remember to give back to yourself, whether that's starting therapy, going easier on yourself at these stressful end of the year times, or allowing yourself a day of rest. BetterHelp is here to help you find a better balance. BetterHelp is entirely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist. Plus, you can change therapists anytime with no additional charge. In the season of giving, give yourself what you need with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Waverly today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Waverly.
Who I love, by the way, who came to an episode with his kids, because a lot of famous people came with their kids, like Rob Reiner, who ended up being in the show, and
with the little like fake PSA about reading. Yeah,
but Larry David's there, he's a odd guy. But I was standing there and I'm taking pictures with his kid, and I'm like, "Can I take a picture with you?" And he goes, "Okay."
Did you?
And he didn't like it, so I have a picture with me going.
He's upset.
And
that's
he's
the
like
most.
this.
That's
Not
the most
upset.
like
He just was
Larry.
like,
That's the most like Larry David picture you can have, though. Did you hear about? There's this because I love true crime. There's this great case. There's a documentary on Netflix about this, but there's a great case where this guy was a suspect in a murder, and the only reason his alibi was because they were shooting at Dodger Stadium. Yeah, they were shooting at Dodger Stadium, and they were shooting Curb. And he just happened to be, they pulled the Curb footage, and he just happened to be in the background of one of the shots.
And they helped him not be a murder suspect.
Yeah, and Larry David said something to him, and I'm going to butcher what he said, but he said something to the effect of like, that's the most meaningful thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That's amazing.
Like what a weird random like
Yeah,
thing.
I remember seeing that.
To have an episode of your show save somebody from being like put to death or like in prison for life. Like
amazing.
Just wild. Anyway.
I wanted to go back to one thing. This is probably one of the only episodes where Justin is using magic for himself to do something, which is very interesting.
Because normally, especially in season 1, he's using it like to try to fix something Alex has done, or he's trying to, get Alex to stop doing magic. But yeah, that's a good point. Because Justin never really did it of his own volition.
Yeah, I wonder if there's any other episodes. We'll
I feel like he probably did, but in the first season especially, it was more Alex using it,
willy-nilly.
Willy-nilly.
I always think about that because what episode that was, I was like, you can't just use magic willy-nilly,
So anyway, he has this thing for Kari or Chelsea Kane, But he doesn't know how to play baseball, and she only dates baseball players. So that's when he continues to use his magic to win. Once he's decided to join the baseball team, which what's his nuts, curly-haired
Riley.
Yeah, golden retriever man is on. He had golden retriever energy. He was so happy and positive, and like he was like the healthiest. This is what I remember about him. He was like so granola and like the healthiest person ever. He always had like fruit and produce and like
he was very happy.
He was very healthy. Like he always had like he was happy and healthy.
Yeah.
He was a very glowy, healthy person.
You know, I have to go to the very beginning of this when David's on the New York Street, which was behind the substation set. So whenever we filmed there, we pretty much the audience wasn't able to see any of that. Just so
we usually pre-taped that.
But
stuff.
David was like, "I'm invisible to her," and then some guy bumps into him, and he's like, "See, I'm invisible." And I don't know about anybody else or how you felt, but. Yeah. When I was younger, every once in a while, I felt a little invisible to my peers.
I think everybody feels that at some point. I still feel that way sometimes. Yeah, I think that's a really universal feeling.
Yeah.
A feeling, and I think it's relative, where it's like somebody might feel invisible, and then you might also inadvertently, without your knowledge, make someone else feel invisible. I think it's like one of those things where everybody feels that, and then doesn't realize that they, without even trying, accidentally make someone else feel that way.
Right.
Like I think it's just this kind of universal thing that happens, you know, unfortunately.
Odd thing to say, but it just is. It just was interesting.
I think it's kind of a universal parallel of the human condition to be perfectly, you know, esoteric in a rewatch podcast about a children's show. You know what part drove me nuts though is just the literal cartoon coyote thing of him being like, "She's so hot," like with his tongue literally out.
Yeah, and he
in the street was
the
weird.
friend who was there was like, "Your tongue is out," and he actually then puts his tongue back in his mouth with the thing.
The tongue thing was weird.
Yeah,
the tongue thing was very strange. It was very
meaning it was not funny or it was not appropriate.
Both.
Yeah.
I mean, like. But just like to me, it's like I got the gag, but to me, it just didn't read. It just wasn't funny. It was kind of like awkward.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I get it's supposed to be like cartoony.
Yeah.
But it just didn't read to me. I just was kind of like, it felt forced.
Right.
But yeah, and that friend went to the same place as Dragon, the dog. Like we went to Transylvania University with Dragon the dog. We never saw him again.
It's interesting, and then I think that happens in the first season a lot, where they'll present something. And then just go, that didn't work, take it away.
Yeah.
Selena wants Riley.
Yeah. David wants Kari.
And David wants Kari.
And so now we go to the baseball game where David tries to impress Kari and Selena's trying to get Riley's attention, which of course we did the baseball game because Peter Murrieta, who we talk about all the time, the showrunner, his son Joaquin,
who is in the episode, he's pitching in the very beginning.
Wasn't his team that he played on at the time called the Aztecs? That's why we called the team that, right?
I'm guessing the answer to that is yes.
Yeah,
I don't remember that, but
Peter's
it's probably
a huge baseball person, and Joaquin now is a recruiter.
And was
for a baseball
playing,
team, and was playing.
Play in college and stuff?
Yeah. He was a huge baseball player.
Amazing.
Still is involved with baseball in a big way, and
he was so cute. Peter's, kids would come to the set, and they were so. It was nice to meet everybody's, offshoot. I mean, they're kids.
They're offspring.
They're offspring.
Their spawn.
Yeah, they just were really nice, and I was really happy that he was in the episode.
It was really cool to see, and I think it made everybody so approachable because sometimes I feel like being a kid on a set, you're expected to be an adult, right? But on Wizards, because it was a kid show, and oftentimes I feel like where kid shows go wrong is when you're on a kid show, but yet you're still expected to be an adult, which don't get me wrong, we were expected to be professional and things like that. But everybody had kids. So it was a very family-friendly environment. You brought your kids.
That's what I was trying to say.
Peter brought his kids.
Yeah.
So we were expected to be professional, but at the same time, there were other kids around that weren't in the business. And so it was a very family-friendly environment. And the adults knew how to be around kids because they were parents. And I think that made a huge difference.
Right. No, I agree.
And so like that was something that I remember, like Gigi and Perry, Gigi talked about how she was cognizant of the fact that we were kids and to make sure that we had a childhood. And I don't think that would have happened if there weren't so many parents around.
Yeah.
And it created a really safe space for us, which was nice. But anywho,
I agree.
Yeah. Well, at the baseball game, another fun cameo is Max is like, I was gonna say rizzing, but rizzing means hitting on now, apparently, in like Gen Z language. Well, yeah. I mean, you and I don't know because we're old
Is it
farts
rizzing
now.
or razzing?
Rizzing means hitting on now.
Okay.
Razzing might be what I'm trying to think of.
Like he
giving
was
shit.
a crazy fan.
Yeah. Well,
he
no,
plays
but
a
he was
crazy
like,
fan.
well, yes. So Max was like giving shit to another player. Like he was like, so maybe razzing is the word I'm thinking. Shit talking.
But sitting behind him was
Ezra Wise,
who had participated in the show, but was our warm-up guy.
Yeah, he was one of our warm-up comedians.
And Darren.
Who those of you who don't know, I'm going to pull it down, Louise. So the warm-up comedians are, when you have a live audience, they keep the room very, very cold. So you stay awake and you don't fall asleep and you're ready to respond very quickly to jokes and give us the laugh track. But also, too, they keep you between setups and when we're moving cameras and they're giving notes and that downtime between shots, they play games, they tell jokes, they get the audience to dance.
Very entertaining.
Very entertaining. So their job is to basically be on all night and to keep the audience engaged on what can be hours of kind of daunting a long shoot.
It's not easy.
It's not an easy job.
Warm-up
guy. They
kicked
kicked ass.
Yeah.
They were so good at it.
We're going to have them on the show.
We will
for
have
sure.
them on the show. And they pop up in later episodes too, but it was great to see Ezra in this one.
Yeah, it was really fun. And then later, I hate to jump in there.
No, you can jump. But we jump all the time. I think the fans are used to it.
Jake and Ezra are going at, and then toward the end, Jake has pushed the boundaries, and
So
Ezra
much.
comes in with security guard and goes, "That's him."
Yeah, I loved it. But yeah, so meanwhile, while all that is going on, and Jake Max is rizzing, razzing, giving shit. Alex tries to impress Riley by convincing him that she's the team's hypothetical good luck charm.
Right.
And Jerry later finds out that Justin's been using magic in order to make the team and decides that Justin's punishment will be playing without using magic, in which case, of course, because Justin's more about smarts rather than brawn,
Right.
he loses. So Alex uses this as an opportunity to prove to Riley that she really is the team's good luck charm by not showing up when they lose.
And this episode has Selena or Alex explaining to Harper the nuance of Alex, her diabolical plan of how to do something. And I really enjoyed the fact that Harper, in my opinion, is someone who's genuine and sweet.
Her brain just
and
doesn't work
nice.
that way.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I
so
love
it
that
was,
about her
it was
too.
really interesting. I mean, no joke. There's 3 times where she's trying to explain to you her manipulation of Riley.
Well, and then
And
I
you're
love
like,
too.
huh?
I love too that after the 3rd time, she then goes, "So Riley, so this is what she's doing," and
Right.
like totally like blows the whole like operation. And then he's so sweet too that he just is completely like, "Okay."
And that's the line I wanted to say where I'm kind of jumping around here, but he says, I'll if you give me this, meaning go to every game because you're the
Yeah.
good luck charm, I'll take you to the dance. And then Selena's like, well, what makes you think I want to go to the dance with
Yeah.
you? And he goes, doesn't everybody want to go to the dance with me? I thought that was really funny.
That was really funny.
It's cute. And she's like, of course I want to go.
And then she's like, "Every game."
Right.
And then I think that part comes later, like sort of at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
We're
Okay,
jumping we're riddling,
but
we're jumping all
I
over the
just wrote
place.
down something. Justin is lying. You know what I mean? Like there is magic being used to, like it's who was supposed to be on the team who Justin,
Took his
used
place?
magic. Yeah, like that whole like college thing where
Yeah.
people took space. They pretended to be, rowers. What's her name's daughters,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And then 2 people didn't get to go to that school because they unfairly took their positions.
Well, but that's the thing is like you have to think about when you make a decision. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, right?
Right.
It's Newton's law. I forget which number. I think it's his 3rd law, but it's the same is true for every decision you make, right? Like I remember, which granted, I do believe to a certain extent that everything happens for a reason, but like Selena, for example, was supposed to be in Camp Rock.
I know this.
Yeah, so she was supposed to be in Camp Rock, and then she turned it down because she wanted
was
Demi to be able to
right.
do it.
She was offered Camp Rock, and then was
but
like,
and granted, this is speculation. I don't know 100% if this is true.
This is good.
I know.
This is the dish
But-
on Wizards of Waverly Pod.
So Drew Seeley was supposed to be in Camp Rock. He was somebody who's so talented, but he never quite got his break. Like he was kind of like close to High School Musical. He kind of like he was almost in this, almost in that, almost in this, and then like the stuff he was in just never really like broke, right? So he was supposed to be in Camp Rock, but because Demi got it, they needed a name because Selena was supposed to be the name in Camp Rock. So Demi got it, nobody knew her, so then they had to put names in it. So then Drew Seeley got cut and the Jonas Brothers got put in. I remember hearing that at the time. I don't know if that's 100% true.
That's the
but
dish. And then
hearing that at the
Maria
time.
played the mom in
And then
that.
she played the mom.
Right?
But
She
yeah,
played
so,
Demi's
but I
mom.
remember even thinking at the time of like, wow, how great is it that she gave her friend an opportunity, but how much does it suck that she cut an opportunity for somebody else? So it just goes to show it's like you never know in helping somebody, you might be hurting somebody else.
Yeah,
so it's just like
exactly.
everything, again, has an equal and opposite reaction. So you don't know the effects of the choices that you make.
Yeah, and I think I've mentioned this to you before, but Charlie Wilson's War, Philip Seymour Hoffman has a wonderful speech where he's like, well, here's good news, but is it? And then it turns into bad news, and then that bad news turns into good news, you know? And it's interesting. It's interesting.
It is
so
interesting.
there's no real good news or bad news. It's just
It's
news.
all perspective.
Yeah.
It's all perspective and it's all how you look at it. And that's where you have to take a step back and go, you know what? Things happen the way that they're meant to. You have to look like that. Otherwise, the news, whatever it is, will drive you crazy trying to look at it from every different angle. But anyhow, so one thing I noticed throughout the first season is, so I had, it sounds medieval, but and I don't even think they do it anymore. I'm not really sure why they did it in the first place.
Dying to find out what you're going to say.
Yeah, I know. It's very random, talk about jumping around, but I had braces, like metal braces on the back of my teeth.
On the inside.
On the inside, because I was like, how am I going to I need to have braces.
Right.
How am I going to do this as an actor?
Your
Because
teeth look amazing, by
Thank
the
you.
way.
Well, my tongue was bleeding for 2 years
Oh,
because
shit.
literally it cut my tongue so much because it was hitting up against these
But
metal.
you could like shove wax in there. Did they have wax?
Yeah,
they put
like
in
I had the rubber bands and all.
Yeah.
They were traditional braces, just backwards on the inside of my teeth. So literally the whole first season, I can hear, which I'm sure I'm the only person who can
have
hear
like a
because I'm
little
listening
lisp?
for. I'm literally having to over enunciate my words
I didn't
because
know
I'm
that.
trying so hard not to hit these braces.
Right.
So yeah, there's a couple scenes, especially when I'm sitting there at the sub shop at the counter where she's explaining, and I'm like, so the thing with Riley is, and I'm like trying so hard to enunciate my words, and I like swallow so many of my words.
That's funny. I didn't know that.
Oh my God. Because like I said, I'm just trying to be like, because my tongue's all cut up and I'm trying like so the whole first season, I'm just like, I can hear it. And like I said, it's because
that's funny.
I know, I spend all the time with myself, but yeah, I hear it so much in the first season.
Interesting. I wonder if the fans heard that. Did you guys hear that? Because I'm going to bet.
Probably like the Harper style. It's probably just a me, Larry David,
I'm gonna,
neuroses thing.
Well, I mean, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that.
Like I said,
you
it's
know?
probably just a me thing. But anyway, okay, so Alex further emphasizes the point that she's Riley's good luck charm because they lose.
Right.
Jerry realizes
And explains that to you.
multiple times, and then I explain it to Riley so everybody understands. Jerry realizes, like I said before, that Justin's using magic. He punishes him by embarrassing him, by causing him to lose in the game. So when Jerry realizes what's going on, he tells Justin to counteract the magic. He then tells Alex that he's onto her as well and has Justin perform a memory erasing spell to make the crowd forget what just happened. Because obviously, no one can know about magic. That's a big thing that we constantly bring up.
Right. But was it, first of all, Justin and Alex counterbalancing each other with the magic.
Yeah.
It's pretty clear. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
no one,
yeah.
we didn't have a lot. I mean, there might have been one moment where I think the ball was going over the fence and then stopped and then fell into the kid's glove or something. And there might have been a little bit of a reaction from the crowd, you know. But it just was, it was a lot. I mean, hence the, doing the spell to erase everybody's memory.
Well, and I think that's part of why we only did, I think it's one of the many reasons why we only did one location shoot was because it was a lot of magic happening, a lot of special effects. Not to mention the fact that we had to basically caravan all of our
it was
4
huge.
cameras,
Yeah.
all of the honey wagons, which honey wagons is a fancy term for those who don't know of trailers and stuff.
Why
that was,
is it called honey wagons?
I don't know. It's actually really good.
Maybe it's
I
just
know,
a brand.
I know.
name
I
of
looked
the-
up one time Lavs. the mics, was because they used to be lavaliers back in the 20s. They used to like go around and be like lavalier necklaces, but there was a mic on it.
You know,
so I knew that. But.
What the first time I realized this was because when you're mic'd and you have a mic on you when you're doing a movie, if the sound guy doesn't turn off your mic, you know, you could be in the bathroom, you know, you could get heard saying things that you don't want to hear.
Yeah.
So at one point I was talking to...
Well, there's a lot of footage of people saying things that you don't know.
And Selena taught me this, but I was talking to Selena and we were talking...
this trick?
Because I had a real hard time with the director of the movie. He tried to pit us against each other, which I did not like. And I thought that was lame.
The director of the movie, yeah.
So we were talking there, and I was like, oh, we're mic'd. And she's like, oh, okay, what? So she just would tap on the mic, and I was like, holy shit, how did I not know that, you know?
Because also, I remember we used to do that trick all the time, because if we were going to the bathroom, we'd hit it like this, so you would get like every other word, or the sound people would get so sick of it, they'd turn the mic off.
Right.
So yeah, it's a great trick. I still use it to this day. But also I've learned how to turn my mic back off. So that's easier.
That's clever.
That's easier rather than peeing and going like
It's
this.
so funny because my go-to is just make a good relationship with the sound guy and say, hey, you know, like we're getting along. He would...
movement of just turning the mic off is way simpler than
but
all
then
of that shit. Also, have a good relationship with everyone on set.
Of course, but mainly the sound guy, so that the producers don't hear you talking shit. Not that we talk shit about them.
Oh my Lord!
Oh my God! So wait. There's one other thing in here that I don't want to forget to say. And talking about outfits, I thought I looked very nice in the red and the hat.
You did.
I think I still have those jeans that I was wearing because they fit well. You know? I was in good shape in the first season. And then I got a little heavier in the second.
Comfortable.
And then I got really big in the third season.
You were on a show. You were feeling life. You were enjoying yourself.
And then I lost 30 pounds in between the third season and the fourth season because I knew the show was going to be over. And I was like, oh, I
got to get a job.
Yeah, but then the fat jokes still kept going. And
I think... Didn't you talk to somebody about the fat jokes?
Yeah,
and they started to
said,
like kind of lay off.
I was like, I'm 35. So I believe in the third season we're in the desert and the family gets lost in the desert.
That's right.
And then
we've talked about this.
Yeah, and then the fourth season we come back and now it's been 3 months in real life, but in the show it's only been a few hours. So I actually said I think I lost like 30 pounds. It was a long walk, but. When I'm standing in the dugout and I get an idea, there's a light bulb above my head and it goes ding. And so I thought that was really funny. I like that.
See, I loved when we leaned into like the kitschiness of, you know,
being silly.
Yeah. I like I said, it's rather than fighting against what a Disney Channel show can be. I know we tried our best to be able to elevate the genre. But at the same time, too, we found our pockets to just kind of lean into what it was. You know, moments like that I love. Okay, so they're going back and forth with the magic between Alex and Justin. It's chaos. The crowd is forgetting. The spell makes them forget for a few minutes, not for a long period of time.
It's a really weird
it's not
thing.
the first or the last time a spell doesn't make sense.
Right, but I write down the spell to hand to Justin. So I don't know why I don't just tell him the spell, because if I tell him the spell...
Maybe he'll forget it. Maybe if you say it to him, it's like doing the spell and he'll forget it. But you can't do magic, though.
So I don't know why I wrote it down, but I handed it to him.
Yeah.
And then the pan of everybody where they're all there, you know, they put a little special effect on, you know, like everybody had like a little halo, which was, you know, in lieu of, I don't know, it was the special effect of them forgetting everything. And then for some reason, Jake says, we win. And then it's over. And then nobody can remember.
Because we were getting closer to the 22 minutes. That's why.
Yeah, right. Because we were getting to the end.
They were like, oh, shit, we got to.
When I was rewatching it, I was like, wait a minute. How did this end? Like, what happened there? Or, you know, and it's just Jake saying, we won. And then, you know, people don't really remember, you know. And we didn't remember. You know what I mean? Because I say, what happened? And I look at
But I guess you're mortal. You're mortal. So, like, you're going to forget, right?
Yeah, but
magic works
Justin forgets. Selena forgets. Yeah. Everybody forgets the whole thing.
That's a good point.
You know, and the spell is on the paper and Justin has it, and then I take it from him, and I go, "Oh, this could come in handy one day," and I put it back in my pocket. It's odd. It just didn't make 100% sense.
No, it didn't. Like I said, it's not the first or the last time that we just look the other direction and go, okay, we're going to suspend disbelief, which we do quite a bit during the show.
I mean, how do you get out of the game if everybody's forgotten? We needed the character Max to say we won.
Yeah. Well, and also, too, I think my justification was the fact that Max just wanted the team to win. So he looked around, wasn't sure what was going on, and went, I guess we won, and then said we won.
Well, that's being very nice, Jen.
I'm trying. So yeah, then Alex gets punished, even though how, I don't know, because Jerry forgot.
Wait. So I go in and
you punish her. Because Riley asks her to the dance, and you go, well, you can't go.
Oh, because I see them. Because I saw Alex and Riley on the street, and I'm waiting for her when she comes in.
But how do you punish her if you don't remember that she was doing magic?
Well, I had the same question in my brain, but there's the scene between the character Riley and Alex on the New York street.
Okay.
She says something, or I see that she's manipulating him. You know what I mean? I see that the only, and maybe not so much magic, but that there was manipulation going on.
So you were punishing her because she was manipulating him?
Yeah. Well, maybe not manipulate, but listen, I have to now rewatch the rewatch again. Now I really want to know. But
I know, now we're getting real nitpicky about it.
She got in trouble because of whatever I saw her doing with Riley.
Okay, so not during the game, but after.
Yeah, I don't know what she says to Riley, but it's about the dance, or it's about the
because you tell her
dance.
she can't go.
Right, I say that she can't go to
because that's ultimately her punishment.
Like I'm a fucking Jerry Russo's a dick.
Yeah, because I mean, I didn't say that. Because I have written down that she's banned for using magic at the game. That's why she can't go. So I feel like there's something that you remember from the game. We're going to agree to disagree. I think you remember something from the game. What do you guys think? Comment on the thing.
I think there's something that happens between Selena and Riley on the street that I'm picking up on, you know?
And I think there's something that you remember from the game because you remember her using some kind of magic at the game.
Or that I don't remember the game at all.
And so you think that she did something, which is plausible as well.
Because it was fucking Alex always did something wrong. Always.
That's the entire show. And then Justin finally asks Kari out. And this is where we have that great moment where they're in the sub shop at the table. And she says that she only dates baseball players. And I only watch movies about cats. And she has that great gag where she's like, but are they costumes? Are the cats dressed up as farm animals?
Right. It was funny.
Has that, like I said, she looked like she literally had air between her ears.
Yeah.
Like she did such a great job. And it was not an easy part. I would have literally probably read it on the script and like, what do I do with this? But
like back to like when Lucy Hale was on the show and she had to pretend like David was talking to his it and not know that it was there, you know?
No, it was way to take kind of like a hokey, strange, like comedic thing and to really commit to it. And
it was weird because now Justin, who's now gotten the girl, just because she wants to see a movie with cats, he's like, all right, good, I'm out. You know what I mean?
Okay, but it wasn't just because she wanted to see a movie with cats. It was because he was trying to take her to a movie about like farm animals, and she's like, "But are the farm animals? Are they cats dressed up as farm?" And he tries to explain it to her like 5 different times, and she's like, "But cats?" And he's like, "No," and he's like, "But cats though?" And she's like, "No." So to me, if I were in Justin's shoes, I'd be like, "Okay, this date's not going to go anywhere because I'd be so frustrated because she won't shut the hell up about baseball players and cats the whole time."
But I just think that's hysterical that he just kind of gives up. He's like, "Okay, I'm out. I'm good."
Maybe he had his tongue out just staring at her, so maybe he was distracted.
It's interesting
at first,
too because he was so in love with her that he couldn't even talk. He's like, ugh.
But that's high school, right? Like that's high school crushes. One day you're head over heels for them, and then the next day you're like, what did I see in them? That happens to me all the time. Where I'm like, oh my God, they're the best ever. Like, oh, I'm so in love with them, and then the next day I'm like, oh, why?
Yeah. I had a crush when I was in 6th grade on a girl named Jocelyn.
That's a great name.
I think her name was Jocelyn Kelly. She was so nice, and I had such a crush, and I was just like, oh. And I remember I actually went and did a TV movie with my dad called The Happy that I was on. So I was gone from school, and I was a child actor. And I think I was in 5th grade.
5th grade, okay.
So what is that, 12?
Give or take.
11, 12? I was adorable. But I remember I brought a thing of gummy bears to give to her. And I was so nervous, and I gave her the gummy bears, and I was like, I like you or whatever. And then she gave the gummy bears to Danny Miller.
Jocelyn, you bitch.
Right? I was so angry about that. And then she turned into
I'm mad at Jocelyn.
in junior high school, she turned into like a goth girl. Did you have goth growing up?
Oh, I was goth in third grade.
You were goth.
Because I had so much to be upset about at 8. No, I had a big Hot Topic phase. I like painted my nails with Sharpie. I listened to like all the goth music. I wore like the black tutus and wore like Doc Martens, which I mean I'm still wearing today. But and yeah, I had the Converse. And,
Yeah,
and,
well, it's
and I had the
cool,
the seat belt buckle, and like
Yeah.
I was very dark and mysterious, and I loved Emily the Strange. I don't know if you remember that character,
No.
or if Riley was ever in, or DeStefano was ever into that, but. It was this character that literally everything was like, life is terrible. Like she just was this like Wednesday Addams type character.
Was it a cartoon?
It was a cartoon.
Yeah.
But yeah, Emily the Strange was this like Wednesday Addams type thing where she's just like, life is suffering. Like it just was very.
Teenagers are
I
like
was
that.
8. I was not a teenager. I wasn't even
Which is
close.
a normal person's teen.
Yeah, I was 8. But yeah.
Let me go back to Jocelyn just for a second. I hope that she's doing well. And it's okay that she didn't like me back. That's okay, you know.
Yeah. My mom told me this story once of my mom told me this story. In my head, I was like, fuck you, Jocelyn. No, but my mom told me this story, and it's so my approach with like talking about having crushes, getting over them really quickly, and also just my approach to men in general now, was apparently she saw me in kindergarten, like pick a flower or something and like present it to some guy that I had a crush on that week.
He was a little boy. He wasn't a guy.
Well, he was, yeah, he
You
was
were
a
in
child. We were
kindergarten?
children, yeah.
Okay.
He was a little boy, and he looked at it and he went, ew, and threw it on the ground. And I just went, and like ran off. And like that, she's like, that's pretty much been your approach since like day one. And she's so true where I'm just like, whatever, and just like moved on. So it's still pretty much my approach where like I have a crush, they're not into it, and I'm like, and then I get over it really fast.
By the way, I liked her from forever. So I had a crush on
I
her.
hope she chokes on a gummy bear.
No.
Well, we get somebody. I hope she chokes on a gummy bear and someone gives her the Heimlich maneuver. How about that?
No, I'm sure.
I get very protective
hope
of my
she's
friends
happy in
to a
her
bad to a detrimental place. Okay, so the episode spell is cerebellum erasus, which erases.
Wait a minute. What?
Yeah.
I can't. Are we doing a podcast?
Where?
What
Who
is
are
this?
you? Nice to meet you.
Comedy.
Oh my God! Which erases recent memories from people within a certain distance. What? Recent,
Is that what it said?
Yeah, that's the whole spiel.
Did I say that on the show where I'm like, this will erase their memory within a certain
I think
distance?
it was. I think that whole explanation was written on the piece of paper for sure.
Okay.
I have no fucking clue.
Because I had the like everybody's gonna forget, but it had to be in that proximity.
I think it had to be in that
zone.
distance, which maybe explains the whole thing about how you still remembered is you maybe weren't in the proximity.
No, I'm standing next to
I know,
him.
I'm trying to
I
fucking
saw
justify
the
our
effect,
show, dude.
the effect of the my memory
oh my
going
God.
away.
Okay, whatever. I'm trying to justify our
Cerebellum
show.
erasus?
Cerebellum erasus. So, what recent memory would you want to erase from people's minds? Other than Jocelyn.
Jen. Oh,
Other than Jocelyn and
no,
the gummy
I don't
bears.
want to erase Jocelyn the memory because I'll tell you why. Because it was a good thing for me. I finally got the guts to like tell her that I liked her.
That's great.
And then she, gave the gummy
Destroyed
bears
your
to
heart.
someone else, and I was like, "Oh, okay, moving on."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You
for,
went-
for years.
and
I
then
was like,
moved
I
on.
like her. And okay, so what do I want to erase?
Yeah. What's a recent memory you would want to erase from people's memories?
There's some television shows that I've watched that I'm ready to erase from my brain. It's interesting
Okay.
because a lot of times you'll watch stuff on Netflix and you're like, I didn't like that first episode. And a lot of people are like, you got to watch 3 episodes. You got to watch,
It's like the rule of thumb with the new show. If by the 3rd episode you don't like it, you just don't like it.
But that's a full commitment. That's a movie amount of time,
Yeah.
Okay, what do you want to erase?
Other than some relationships. I'm not a big believer in regret.
Yeah, this is a hard question.
I think there's some drunk texts I might take back for sure, which I haven't done a ton of. But there's when I fail, I fail epically. So yeah, there was a dark phase I was going through with a guy that I I would like to think that we would have been friends if I hadn't made a spectacular ass out of myself. But like I said, I was not in the best headspace in my life, and I was projecting a lot on this person. And
But this is good, Jen,
Yeah.
because if this happens to you, then you learn from that.
no,
right?
yeah, and that's why I'm not a big believer in regret, because to me, you live, you learn. But the thing is like sometimes in those lessons, there's casualties,
Right.
and I have to believe that like those weren't meant to be, right? So it's like if those friendships, relationships, whatever. Don't happen. They weren't meant to be in the first place. But yeah, there's something where I'm like, you know what? I could have lived without that person being like, oh, that bitch is crazy.
Yeah.
Because I know that I'm not like that. But in that time, I did behave that way because I wasn't in a really good headspace. So that's something that I would take back because I don't love that someone saw a version of me that I don't feel like is the genuine me.
Okay, ask me the question again. I know my answer.
Okay,
now.
what's something you would erase from people's minds?
Every single interaction I had with my ex-wife.
Fair. Your ex-marriage.
Why did that make me feel good?
Because
I'm going to erase her.
Because it's cleansing. It's cleansing.
Fuck, man. You know what? I have to say this.
You want to just erase it from your memory.
Yeah, or whatever. But, when people are divorcing,
Yeah.
you do not have to be bad to the other person.
No.
It doesn't have to be that. And it was that for me. And it really, she used my kids as pawns, and it really fucking sucked. So, headline, David DeLuise hates divorcing.
Well, the thing, like, it's, to be honest, it's what makes me so nervous about, not nervous, but very.
Getting married?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not nervous about marriage. I'm just very picky. I'm very picky, especially now in my life where it's like, but I'm at a point where I'm like, I really do, because I used to date just for fun. And that's, I think, the normal progression of dating. But I used to date just for fun and to be like, oh, this would be a fun person to
As opposed to dating for like.
A partner and
okay.
and for life. And so, but I'm at this phase now where I'm like, I really want a partner. I want a partner in life. Ideally, I would love a partner in life and a partner in creativity. I mean, to me, that's.
Yeah,
that's
what we all,
That's the ideal, right? Like if I could find someone who I can be creative with and go through life with, like that to me is the dream.
And we all need to find that in ourselves before we can.
Of course,
be with
and
others.
and that's what I'm working on right now is being so jazzed about my life that the person that comes along adds something to my life, and they have to be pretty fucking spectacular for me to want to give up my life with just myself.
Right.
And that's my goal right now is to be so jazzed about my life with me.
Yeah.
That whoever's going to come along and disrupt that
That's
has to be pretty amazing.
Yeah,
you know
of course.
What I mean? But that's why like a lot of my friends have been married and already divorced by now. And I mean, I've never lived with anybody or been engaged because to me, I'm very old fashioned. I'm very modern with a lot of my thinking, but very old fashioned with my thinking when it comes to relationships. I'm a big fan of the guy making the first move, taking out on like classic dates and not living with somebody until like you're ready to get married or not even until after. And so I can be very old. I think for everybody it's their own style, but for me, I'm just old fashioned.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Listen, I think the statistic is 50% of marriages end in divorce. I can't even, it's traumatizing.
Yeah, I was like, do you have some
50% of
PTSD there?
marriages end in divorce. Now, I will say this. It wasn't about the marriage. It was about the person. And I had always said to my attorneys and to all my friends, especially to Jesus, who was a part of my family but worked for us for like 40 years. Yeah. I said, Jesus, if I ever say I'm going to get married again, I want you to shoot me, is what I said to him. And then I realized that when I met Yulia and I wanted to be with her and I wanted to marry her, that I should do that because by not doing that, I was letting my old relationship dictate what was going on, you know? So I told Jesus I'm getting married and he goes,
don't do it.
I won't shoot you.
Oh,
because he loved Yulia. Really sweet. He loves Yulia. So
the three pieces of advice, I'll say this, that my parents gave me about getting married were you marry the family. Mm-hmm. So make sure you pay attention and like their family.
That's good.
My dad, I always love this when it only ends well once. Every time I have a bad breakup, I always remember that. Of like, well, it only ends well one time. It just means it wasn't the one.
Right.
And then also to be careful who you hitch your wagon to. Yeah. I mean, we're from Texas, so of course it's a fucking wagon. But that's the thing is, it's like, because the thing is like not only.
I wish I had known that.
No, but the thing is like, and my parents are still together, and it's something where, you know, I don't speak from experience because I've never been married, but like I can only imagine like marriage is really hard. You go through a lot, you change so much with every decade of your life and with seasons. And so it's like, but you also, when you hitch your wagon to a person, so to speak, like you hitch your wagon not only to them creatively, fiscally, like
everything. Yeah, it's marriage is also like a business. You know what I mean? You're sharing your finances. I was married to a narcissist, and you can't love a narcissist because they love themselves, and they're not capable.
Which ironically, actually, when you really dig into narcissism, they actually hate themselves.
Yeah, no, there's a very low self-esteem there.
Yeah, it's a complicated mental illness.
Narcissists are not able to put anybody else's needs above their own, and so my kids were, her needs were always ahead of theirs, which was so tough. And on a very special,
how do we get from baseball to narcissism and marriage?
Wow, that's
Lord. Talk about an aside, Jesus Lord.
Yeah.
Okay,
but I'm not there anymore.
That's great.
That's what the forgetting thing.
Yeah,
wanting to forget that. Thank you very much. Brought it up in my fucking mind, Jen.
Cerebellum erases. Well, I meant to take it away and not put it back. Lord, I'm sorry.
All right, you ready?
Okay, yes.
Cerebellum erases.
Where are we? What's happening? Well, anyway, we'll see you next week.
Wait, we're going to do one question.
Okay, one question.
Here.
And then we'll see you next week.
It's going to be a very quick answer. Go.
Oh, Lord.
Go.
Like, we can never do anything quickly.
Yes, no, we can.
If you had to invent your own spell using part of your name, what would you call it and what is its power?
Louises.
Jesus Louises. Which means you can turn water into wine. Oh, I like that. That one's good. Mine would be Turnus Stonus, which means you get to find things like the wizard's pilot that you can't find.
Oh, fuck. Turnus Stonus, please, God.
Turnus Stonus. Okay. With that, we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
If you can't get enough wizards, heaven knows we can't, you can join our Patreon for exclusive weekly bonus content. There's a link in the description for that too.
It's magical.
Oh, see you next week.